Hello and welcome to another episode of Ashes to Go. I'm your host Redbyrd, and with me is BDLG. Bordy, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm good, man. I cut my head shaven, but other than that, I'm good. I'm sporting a Wonder Woman Band-Aid on my head.
Yeah, fitting.
Yeah, dude, it is. But other than that, dude, doing great, man. How are you, dude?
I'm doing good, dude. Just been a very eventful week in my life. Other than that, doing real well. Dude, there's a lot of one thing I'm glad of, Bordy, is that I didn't waste a lot of time carving a pumpkin for that Ashes contest.
You and me both, man. I'm not going to lie. The thought crossed my mind. I was like, hey, man, what if I really put forth a lot of effort? Like maybe I could carve something really cool. I'm so glad I didn't even try.
Yeah.
There's no way I could have even came close.
There were some insanely talented people that entered that contest. We're going to talk about the Glorious Gourd contest, of course. Going to talk a little bit about the ash between the alpha phases and kind of some insight that Steven gave during the most recent developers stream. And then we're going to talk about our favorite topic on all of our podcasts, and that is PvP. Also, we're going to give a shout out to, of course, our Guild of the Week, which this week is 40.
Oh, is that like my...
yeah, that's your cue, dude.
Cue?
You're the guy that reads stuff.
Gotcha. The Seafarers of Vera.
The
Seafarers
of Vera. So we have a great episode this week for you guys. But real quick, don't forget to follow the Studio Loot account on Twitter. That is where we give out all our announcements when the podcast is live, when our VODs go live. All of the special information about all of our, Ashes of Creation content goes up there. So definitely give that a follow. Also, we have the YouTube channel where we have all the VODs of the podcast as well. And tonight, you might be lucky enough to see my face frozen in a really weird position on the VOD for the entire time. It might happen, dude. It might happen. All right, dude. Bordy. So, the Glorious Gourd contest, man. And I'm not going to lie, dude. When I was going to get, I was thinking about getting a pumpkin. I was like, dude, I can definitely do something, creative enough to get a free alpha code, because that's what I really wanted, dude. I wanted the alpha 1 access, and I thought maybe I do Steven's face or maybe some flip-flops, and then easy peasy lemon squeezy, I'm in there, I'm playing alpha. I would have been dead wrong, dude. Dead wrong. There were some insanely talented people that entered the contest, and there were some really, really, really cool carvings, Bordy.
Yeah, there was, man. It was incredible. I was carving pumpkins with my kids, and I thought about buying an extra one to carve myself. And as I was carving these things with my kids, I quickly realized that I don't have it in me, dude. I don't have what it takes to carve a dope pumpkin. I was struggling just carving eyeballs out of a ghost. You know what I mean? I couldn't get it. Then you look at these things, and it's like, how, man? How is this even? I don't understand how it's possible. I don't get it. It's crazy.
Lots of patience, lots of talent. There was the dragon one was insane. All of them are insanely good. The ones that were the constellation prizes, and basically everyone they showed on the stream was insane. But the winner was not a carving at all, Bordy. So there's a little bit of controversy in the winner. They literally built a mount out of pumpkins. So there was one of the Day Striders. They said that they had made some footage on the green screen of the girl on the Day Strider riding it throughout Vera, but I never checked out the video. But dude, they made a rideable creature out of pumpkins. The winner.
It's insane, dude. It's pretty creative, and I think that there's a picture of the winner riding the Day Strider green screened into Vera on the forum somewhere. So you have to go check that out.
Yeah,
cool, man. And that it is really, really creative. But when you do read the instructions, it says grab a pumpkin and carve your IRL masterpiece. So a build versus a car. I don't know, but it is really cool and really creative, and I really like it. It's really, really neat. I've never seen anything done like that before, but I will tell you, my absolute favorite is the dragon. The dragon carving, it's so dope, dude. It's so good, man.
Yeah, they were all insanely cool. I've always been interested to see how they do the different colors, the different thicknesses of the wall and the pumpkin to make the colors like red, orange, yellow, all of those things. So, obviously, there was tons of that, and then of course, dude, do you think what are the odds of them actually creating like this special mount in game made of pumpkins?
That would be really dope, man. Hey, they should make that happen. Some kind of like event or something, or at least give it to the winner. I hate healers. Give it to her.
Yeah, and that's like, I mean, here's the thing about
that'd be cool.
Here's the thing about the name, and I've been a healer before, dude, and the hate's got to stop, dude. We keep people alive. We were supportive to everybody, you know what I mean? We're rarely the reason that the raid wipes or the dungeon group wipes, if we're being completely honest. It's always a tank problem or a DPS that pulled something they shouldn't have. The hate's got to stop, And I, for all the healers out there, you have my love, if that means anything. If that'll get me an alpha code especially. I love all of each and every one of you.
Well, dude. So speaking of alpha codes, Red.
Yeah.
Intrepid is doing a 24-hour stream on November the 6th November the 7th through November the 8th. And guess what they're giving away during that 24-hour live stream? Alpha 1 keys,
How
dude.
many? Oh, dude.
I don't know.
24 hours is a long time, but I'm going to try to. This is awesome. It's for a good cause. Obviously, it's going to have everyone from the Intrepid team. I think they're doing like some Dungeons and Dragons content as well, which will be pretty cool to watch. And I think Steven's DMing the Dungeons and Dragons campaign, so that'll be pretty cool. And it's set in the world of Vera, so that is even more. Maybe we'll get to learn a little bit of the insight on the lore of Ashes of Creation as we kind of, we'll get to watch some of their Dungeons and Dragons content. So it's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's right. And if I heard right, if they hit the $30,000 mark during the live stream at any point, Steven's going to shave his beard live on stream. Yeah,
dude. And I feel for him. Steven, listen, bro. I recently had to shave my beard for work as well, and so, dude, there's no shame, and to just, let's be Stash Brothers, Steven. If you do have to shave your beard, which if I was a betting man, I would bet that you're going to be shaving your beard. Go ahead and dip onto the mustache crew, brother. You're in good company. And we'll take real good care of you in the Mustache Club while you grow back
the Mustache Club.
While you grow back your beard. Yeah.
The Mustache Club.
Yeah, I mean,
it sounds creepy.
It's a gentleman's club, dude. That's why you don't know about it. It's because you're not a gentleman.
The Mustache Club. Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. So, Steve. Yeah, I'm not gonna. Steven, you're welcome in the club, brother. And there's no doubt they're gonna hit that 30,000 mark for sure. I'm excited, and it'll be cool to, see them support a good cause as well. Bordy. So, everybody knows, of course, in the community there was another developers stream this last week, and one of the main things they featured, Bordy, just happens to be our. I don't know if you want to call it our specialty, but it is definitely our favorite thing in MMOs, and that is PvP. So, Bordy, me and you, we played quite a bit of Ashes of Creation Apocalypse, which gave you a bit of a taste of the combat and the PvP aspects of the game, I think, in Ashes of Creation. And so let's kind of at first, since we actually have experience in Apocalypse, kind of compare the footage that we saw in the game in the developer stream to our experiences in Apocalypse.
Yeah, so I mean, I think just by watching it, it seemed like it was pretty similar. I think that obviously some of the things that were in Apocalypse can't be in the actual game. A lot of the flying around and some of the things that were happening in that game you don't see in the video. But I think overall the combat looked fairly close to the same, which is what I would expect, right? Like in Apocalypse, it was much more action based, though. So while I was trying to watch that, I was trying to get a feel for the hybrid versus action combat, and I was having a hard time there trying to figure out what was what. What did you think about it, man?
Yeah, watching the the AoE based basic attacks was pretty cool. Obviously, that not a lot of games do that. They make I think most generally like single targeted base attacks. So it's cool to see that in action. There was a lot of like, and they said they were going to tone all these things, of course. Like, we're not saying that this is going to be a finished product in the game, but there were some like pretty massive AoE circles on the ground that I saw from like the mage casting meteor or something like that, which is pretty crazy in an enclosed environment like that. I think, personally, Steven got targeted initially, and if it wasn't for his God code, then he probably would have been dead a lot. But not to his fault. I think, again, I think a lot of people wanted to kill Steven just for hype or for clout there. So, I mean, obviously, like it looks really, really fun, ability-based combat, for the most part, and it'll be interesting to see how they approach not only just having like 8 classes and all these different abilities and trying to build out things that way, but 64 individual subclasses. So I think that's the real challenge in any PvP game, and I think we're going to talk about this next, is balancing things to where they're not like completely broken. And recently, like the New World preview event that they did, there was a couple weapons in there that were pretty like busted. Obviously, that's a testing environment too. So that's just the thing, is like lots of testing, getting lots of information, and balancing those classes, I think, is like the most important thing about PvP. And then the second one is the most important thing, I think, in any MMO, and that's combat boardy. So what did you think about, I mean, like you said, there was different than Apocalypse. Obviously, there's a lot more activated skills in Ashes of Creation, and you would obviously assume that. But what did you think about, watching, all of the action going on with the, I don't know how much attention you paid to like the melee classes, and then, or what they consider martial classes, and then the magic classes, and how they were acting in combat.
Yeah, I mean, it looked good. I thought it looked like a lot of fun, man. So you pointed out that there was just a lot of like large AoEs and a lot of effects too, and Steven did say they were going to tone those down and adjust the brightness and all that stuff, and I really hope they do, because that's going to affect performance in a big way. I think we've seen that from games like ESO, but in terms of like how the actual combat functioned and moved around and worked, it's hard for me to say until I actually get in there and play the game. It looked fun. It looked like I would really enjoy it. It looked like something that was fine. It was a lot smaller scale than I think we're going to see most combat in Ashes play out. So the way that those characters are utilized in that setting, I think may be a lot different than what we're going to see in the actual game. So it's really hard for me to sit here and say, oh, I think the PvP is going to be amazing, or oh, it's not what I expected, because at this point, I still, even though we got a little bit of a taste, I still really don't know what to expect whenever the game actually releases, because they also go in there to talk about how they want their combat to be large scale focused. So, and that was not, that was a little bit smaller scale. So I don't know, man. To answer that question, I really don't know yet. I thought it looked fun from what we've seen, but I'm not real sure how that's going to play out in terms of the actual game.
Yeah, and the challenge, I think, is, again, you mentioned the big part of it. They're going to be balancing for group-based combat, so which is an interesting take, and here's why. And we've talked a lot about this, obviously, as PvP enthusiasts. One of the things that seems to be the trend in recent MMOs, especially the newer ones coming out, is group-based PvP or large-scale PvP, and that's something as a PvPer is kind of interesting or fascinating that people are taking that route. One of the most important things, Bordy, and I think you can agree with this, is I don't know of any PvP game that's actually done that well. So it just seems interesting to me that's their approach to PvP, is trying something like large scale off the bat.
Yeah, it's interesting to me too, because it's interesting to me too, and a little bit concerning, to be honest with you, because for me personally, I know there's a lot of people that really, really love large scale PvP, but it's concerning to me on multiple levels. Number one, I've never seen it done done great. There are some games out there that do it and they do it okay. ESO's combat is pretty good whenever it's large scale, but it still has a ton of performance issues, and there's still a lot of issues there that push people out of like playing large scale in Cyrodiil. So I worry that because they're focusing so much on large scale PvP, that if they can't get it right and get the performance right in large scale PvP, that's going to be a problem. Then I also worry about the whole balancing for large scale PvP, because I personally, and I know a ton of people too that love smaller scale PvP a lot more than large scale. They enjoy participating, and I too enjoy participating in large scale PvP. But I would much rather do more small scale skirmishes and small scale battles and large scale PvP. So I worry about like how them balancing for specifically for large scale PvP is going to affect the small scale solo encounters you get into in the open world, and like the caravan fights and those types of things, the arenas and those types of things. I wonder how well those are going to even be if they're not worried about those, because they did say in there that they know for sure that some classes are going to be incredibly strong and are just going to mop the floor with other classes. And that's just something that they know is going to happen whenever they meet each other one-on-one, and they've accepted that, and they're accepting that. And that's not a concern to them. And it is a concern to me, because if I'm out small scale PvP and I know I don't have a chance against that guy, like that's not fun. That's going to suck, dude. So I don't know. I'm a little concerned about that, to be honest.
Well, and I like open world PvP. I don't mind large scale PvP, but I think generally like there isn't a whole lot of examples of it working really, really well in an MMO. One of my favorite things in MMO, or like PvP wise in MMOs, and something that is weird that more games don't attempt, is arena type PvP, to where it's like organized 2v2s or 3v3s, and like sometimes like an unrated or a rated situation. I think that to me is like one of the most pleasurable experiences in MMO PvP, because most of the time you feel like it's somewhat balanced, right? There's somewhat of a fair playing ground in those environments where you can truly test your skills in PvP. And what I've experienced from as far as a large scale standpoint, typically is no matter the skill of the players, if there is a like larger group of people, significantly larger group of people, then that larger group usually wins, which to me is like pretty unfun.
Yeah, I agree, man. And all of those things put together are a little bit concerning, because I think those statements that they made, just, they know that they're balancing for large scale. But then on the flip side of that, like, how do you balance for both? How do you balance for large scale and small scale PvP at the same time? Like, I don't know the answer to that either. So maybe it is better that they know exactly what they want their PvP to be and exactly what they're wanting to balance for, and then forego the other, because now that their identity is made, they know what they're making the game for, they know who they're making the game for, and they're not trying to cater to those other areas, right? So I don't know, but for me personally, I enjoy small scale so much. That's like that's what I really, really like in games. I also enjoy large sieges, but I really get the most pleasure out of small scale open world battles. Is what I really enjoy the most. And so just those spontaneous open world battles where it's like, even this, which begs another question, because I really also in the open world like to go out in 1vx. We played a lot of the New World preview, and in that game you can feasibly do that. There were plenty of times where I was fighting 3 people, and I could successfully win those fights in a 1vx just by outsmarting them, outmaneuvering them, outpositioning them, or just having more health pots than them or whatever. It doesn't sound like that's going to happen in Ashes, unless you're like the really OP class, compared to, like, if you're the hard counter class to the 3 other classes that are out there, which is a little bit weird too. It's like, just because your class is way better in 1v1 than mine, and I'm a better player, I have no chance against you, because you're just gonna button mash and slaughter me because your class is better. Like, that's just not fun to me. So I don't know what they're gonna do there, man. I don't know. Hopefully they get it right.
Yeah, and I've played games that do specifically balance in a manner of not just like making all the classes equal, but in like a paper, rock, scissors sort of way. And I think that there is a quote out there from Steven that would be the case in some circumstances, and I'm okay with that. Like the idea of like say like a rogue would obviously be one of the better classes in like a 1v1 situation. Like that's like kind of inevitable in any MMO. If you have some sort of stealth class that can open big, most of the time that class is going to be like one of the best, like, open world PvP classes or like 1v1 classes. But like you mentioned, I think a lot of the pleasure not just comes from like arenas, like small scale PvP, but also in the open world. And then hopefully there will be multiple ways to like, roam or whatever you want to call it with the different classes. Because like you said, it does kind of feel bad when you typically want to play a certain class, but your class is like outmatched by everybody in those settings, and I think it's best, and I think they feel the same way too. It's best to support as many play styles as possible when it comes to like character selection and how from player to player in each of the different aspects of the game.
Yeah, I think so, and I think they're well aware of that too. But it was just alarming to me that I think it was Jeff. Is that's his name, right? Jeff Bard. I knew his last name was Bard. I'm pretty sure it's Jeff. But he whenever he made that statement about they know that there's going to be classes in the open world that just destroy the other classes, and that's just how it is, and that's just going to be the accepted way. That was just kind of an alarming statement to me, and I know that I have faith that the game is going to be good, and I think that at the end of the day, maybe you just have to create your character knowing maybe you just have to have knowledge of the game to understand that if I play this class, I'm not going to be very viable in open world PvP. I'm going to be strong in group play, but if I play this other class, then I can do really well in open world PvP, and that's what I want to do. So maybe for me, maybe I don't want to participate in both, or maybe I just have two characters, one for open world, one for large scale or sieges or whatever, and that would be fine too, I guess. It's just I like fair, even fights in the open world, and I don't like to I don't even like, it's not even fun to me to just go like just absolutely slaughter people, just because my class is better than theirs. I want a good fight so I can feel good about myself at the end of the day and be like, oh well, hey, just beat that guy because I was better. Didn't beat that guy because my class or race or whatever.
Yeah, true. And I think as things go on and as we kind of like see more from the combat and the overall like experience from the balancing and the different types of PvP in Ashes of Creation, we'll have a better idea of how many classes are viable and why they're viable in PvP. And obviously, I don't think either one of us are knowing going in if some classes are better, like 1vxing or open world PvP or whatever. Then I think we're probably going to lean to that type of class anyways at this point. So we'll see, man. We will see. It'll be interesting because I think once the NDA drops on the Alpha 1, we'll get to see a lot of open world encounters, dude. So it'll be pretty cool to, see their approach of balancing and how, how far off each class is. Because maybe, like, Jeff had said, they are going to balance in a more large group setting, but how far are those individual classes going to be apart? That's always like a really valid question, I think, is like, are we talking maybe like, oh, well, you may have a 60-40% chance against this class? Or are we talking like there is no way you'll ever beat this class in a 1v1 situation?
Yeah, I don't know. I hope that's not the case. I hope there's just not something out there that's just so super strong in 1v1 situations that it's like almost impossible to beat them. So whenever you see them in the open world, you just have to run. Like, I don't want that either. But then, I mean, I guess I'll just play that class,
Yeah, yeah. We'll both be in the same class at that point. Yeah. I mean, I sometimes like the challenge of having a class that's not necessarily considered the best at like open world PvP or something like that, and having the opportunity to get better and become one of those people that are skilled at it to experience that type of PvP. So we'll see, man. I'm excited to see more, and and obviously we're gonna get to really shortly because Alpha is just around the corner. Now, real quick, we didn't talk about this earlier like we had planned, so we'll talk about it now. Steven made a pretty decent or I think pretty significant comment about Alpha 1 and how each of these tests are going to be implemented. Now, he did, obviously they gave us a pretty detailed calendar of these dates and how they're going to transition through these phases of alpha, but Steven did make a claim that I think people should pay close attention to. They did mention, or Steven did mention, that as the tests progress, if they have a reason to slow down or prolong tests in order to get things correct or right or ready or stable for the next upcoming test, they're going to do so. So it seems like at least the next or the last 3 steps, those dates are pretty subject to change, Bordy.
Yeah, which I think we had talked about that a little bit on maybe the previous episode, and I think that that's just to be expected, right? I think that things are going to happen within the alphas that are unexpected, once you get players in there. And so once you have players in there actually playing and testing things and breaking things, you don't know that yet, right? Like they don't know what's going to happen. And so, as players get in there and break things, then they're going to have to go in there and try to fix them. So I think that was expected, and I'm glad that he mentioned that though, because it tempers people's expectations and lets them know that these are true alphas and that these dates are subject to change. Things are going to break. They might break. We're going to have to fix them, and then we're going to have to delay to push these things out. And I personally think that's very likely to happen. I think it more than likely will. If it doesn't happen, it's going to really impress me, because I don't know that I've ever seen a game not have to do that, especially like an MMO.
Yeah, and yes, and that's the challenge, they're taking an approach of being very open with their community in efforts to include the community in the making of the game. So, they do
an excellent job at that, man. Excellent job at that. Yeah,
I agree 100%, and obviously that lends itself to the possibility of wanting to add more things or wanting to change different things. If enough community feedback is had in a particular category or direction in the game to make them want to change it, then they're going to take that time to change it. So, obviously, and Hookah makes a good point, and we have been in part of other games that, have made this mistake is listening to a certain subset or maybe the loudest, squeakiest wheels, so to say, in a way that actually hurts the game. So they do have to be careful there and make changes based off of not just the community feedback, but for their overall vision, because I think that is a very important part of a good MMO. Excuse me, is the creation team and obviously Steven heading that, having a very strong vision of what kind of game they want to put out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that they do, man. I think that Steven knows exactly what he's wanting to create, and I think all of his team is fully on board with that. And so I really don't think they'll have a problem with that, to be honest with you. I think that I think he has such a clear vision and knows exactly what he wants to do that I don't think he'll fall into that trap. I don't see Ashes going down that road of just lacking identity or having this identity crisis because some people are trying to push it in a certain direction, or a certain set of players is trying to push it one way. Just because they're loud, they're going to give in and do it. I think there would have to be a really, really good explanation or a really good reason for them to change something that they already have in their mind that they're going to do in the game.
Yeah, and I definitely don't get that opinion from their creation team at all. So right. We'll see. Obviously, it is cool as the community to be part of the overall direction of the game. And time will tell, man. Who knows? Maybe they will hit all the Ashes dates or alpha dates, excuse me. But I would say the likelihood of them hitting every single one exactly when they say that they're going to, or when they think they're going to be able to at this point, I think is pretty unlikely. So we'll see, man. Yeah, dude. So I wanted to fit that in for sure, because I thought that was pretty important information for the community. The last thing that we're going to go over, Bordy, is our Guild of the Week on Ashes Fans. If you have a guild that you want to promote, go over to Ashes Fans, create an account, and post a little guild information article over there at Ashes Fans, and you might be on, or your guild might be on, an episode of Ashes to go. So, Bordy, who do we have this week?
Man, we have a pretty interesting guild here, man. We have the Seafarers of Vera. This guild sounds really, really dope and sounds like they're going to have a great time in game. So they are an EU guild. They are an English-speaking guild. Their focus is PvX. They are recruiting. So I'm going to read this quick little description here, and it's pretty cool, man. As seafarers, we aim to conquer ports and trades within the seas. That doesn't mean we're exclusive to the sea, as we'll need elusive merchants and beautiful crafters to give us the cargo we need and desire. We've always had the fantasy of leading a troop of ships into glorious booty. We shall claim the seas as our own and carry the winds in our backs. If you have the same aspiration as us youngins of the sea, you're wholeheartedly welcome to join. All you have to do is join the Discord server and introduce yourself. So basically, they are a naval trading company with a mercenary fleet. So they say their main goal in the game is to establish themselves as great power on the naval scene. So this sounds like an incredible naval guild to be a part of if that's something you're into within Ashes and something you want to try. So they also have different roles within the guild: a shipman, which is a non-leadership role; a tradesman, which is somebody dealing in trade; a craftsman, which are the craftspeople of the guild. And they also have their Discord link listed here, and I will post all that information in our show notes below. So it sounds like a really cool guild, man. They're going to be out on the high seas, pirates, man. Mercenary pirate traders. Sounds dope.
Yeah, that does sound really cool. It's with the node system and all the locations of the different nodes, and hopefully some strong role playing within each of the guilds. It's gonna be cool to see what people do and are able to put together as far as the different flavors of each of these guilds. And this is a good example of that, man. Pirates, dude, an entire guild full of sea pirates. I think that's dope. Like you,
it's awesome, man. Yeah, it's awesome.
So, Bordy, this is going to do it. Again, we are on an every other week cadence at this point. Obviously, as we get more information about Ashes of Creation, we'll go back to possibly a more frequent basis, but we just want to make sure that we continue to update you guys on that. And we are still doing the show every other week. So the next episode you will hear will be obviously this next Tuesday, or you're listening to this one, but then 2 weeks from Tuesday as well. And we record live on Twitch on Monday nights.
Yeah, and if you want go ahead.
We might be changing that to Sunday nights back again, possibly, right?
Yeah, I think so, man. I think so. We record another podcast at night, and it just makes it easier for us to get that stuff done. Yeah.
Yes. So either way, we will have the episode at the beginning of the week in 2 weeks for you guys as well. All right, Bordy.
If you want your guild listed on ashesfans.com as well, just go over to ashesfans.com, create an account, and then you can list your guild there too for a chance to have your guild shouted out on the podcast.
I said that already.
Oh,
see, this is how I know you don't listen to me on the podcast, dude.
I was just reiterating. You didn't say that though. I've been listening the entire time. No way, dude.
Okay, check the tape, everybody. Don't forget to shame Bordy in the comments on the YouTube channel and on Apple iTunes. Leave us a 5-star rating and then shame Bordy for not listening.
I swear I didn't. You didn't say that.
Somebody in chat will back me up. All right, Bordy, why don't you tell people where they can find you on the internet?
Rip, dude. I feel so bad now. You can find me at Twitter at the BDLG. You can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/thebdlg. And then you can find me streaming on Twitch, twitch.tv/BDLG. And then you can also find me creating content over at ashesfans.com, which is a product of studioloot.com.
Yes, and I am Redbyrd with a Y. You can find me on Twitch and YouTube under the same name. On Twitter, I am Redbyrd. Guys, follow the Studio Loot Twitter account. That's where all of our information's coming out for Ashes of Creation, all of our content. So go over there now. We have finished the ultimate post or the ultimate guide to everything you need to know about Ashes of Creation, or whatever we're going to name it. I have no idea what at this point, but we are working on transferring that over to our website right now, and that should be up and viewable for all of you guys who want to have all of your if you're a freak about all of your information being in one single solitary place, or particularly a page, go check out Ashes Fans soon. It will be up there. I'm sure by the next episode, we'll be able to directly link you that article. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it. We're grateful to be part of this community again. And we will see you on the next episode of Ashes to Go.